Hello, it's February 6th, 2020. Today's rant is going to be about PSVR. The good and the bad, some of the real fucking ugly. So let me get the good things out of the way so we can talk about the negatives. 'Cause that's what everyone likes, being talking about the negatives. They're truthful negatives, but let's be honest. There's a lot of shortcomings, and maybe we'll try to throw out some predictions on what's going to happen with the PSVR 2. I don't give a shit about the PlayStation console itself. I don't give a shit. I know it's. I had a good conversation off the last rant with a guy, and he made great points. And the console will come out and be mid-tier PC at best, and that's true because you have to first you got to pick out the parts for the PlayStation 5. You got to assemble the parts. You got to package it, and then you have to ship it worldwide, and you have to build so many. So no company can have like a worldwide release with millions of anything, of any product, and then be top of the class when technology is just constantly moving forward. It seems like every 3 months, 6 months there's a new video card, there's a new this, new that. It's just fucking overwhelming. The downside, with the let's talk about the pros. First of all, PlayStation or the VR, PlayStation. The PlayStation VR came out in 2016, so it's been out for almost a good 4 years. There hasn't been really any innovation in those 4 years. The PlayStation's remained the same. The Move controllers came out in 2010. 2010. So you have 6-year-old controllers going to, they were used for something else that completely failed, just like the Xbox Connect. That was the start of all of this. That was the closest thing to VR, interactive gaming, where I get to really bowl down a bowling alley. You have to do some kind of movement with the controller to get shit to work. All that shit failed because it's gimmicky, and the tracking sucks, and the tracking still sucks. So you got this already 6-year-old hardware, and it's sitting in a warehouse somewhere, probably in the millions, because Sony sold 4.2 million headsets. They've probably done more bringing VR to the mainstream than anybody else has. They made a very cheap headset. The controllers they've seen, from what I've looked up, the price is maybe dropped $10 since the release back in 2010 of the Move controllers. Those Move controllers, the prices haven't fucking dropped much, if any at all. It's like your shit is really fucking old. 16 years old almost, right? No, 6 years old. What am I thinking? 6 years old. And it's like you're still selling this as a premium. That's kind of fucking shady. I don't think, especially when it's not a good product. Now, granted, at the time you had mixed reality for Microsoft, and those controllers had the thumb pads, and that shit was horribly fucking garbage. But then also the tracking was bad because those headsets only had 2 fucking cameras. So once your arms went down to your sides and shit like that, or went too high up, 2 cameras is unacceptable. If you're going to do wireless, four is really the minimum, but I think you really need you almost need like two cameras off to the sides, and you need one in the back. And hands off to the Quest, because that little, machine at least calculates that, okay, your arm's moving back to the right, so we're gonna pretty much guess where your hand's going. So even in Vader Immortal, you can block a laser without turning your head just by putting the lightsaber behind you and block. That's fucking amazing. That's how technology should be going forward. I want forwardness, not the stagnant shit. So VR comes out for PlayStation 2016, almost 4 years, and there's no improvement on the Move controllers. Absolutely none. Could Sony have just given us a fucking analog? This, you kind of have to question, does Sony really give a shit? And it does bring up a lot of valid points of, well, will VR, the VR2, will it be wireless? Because if it's not wireless, then what the fuck's the point? Like the golden standard should be, everything should be wireless, There should be more standalone headsets. Why are we still using wires? We know we don't need them. And I think that the main problem with the PlayStation is why you're not seeing any kind of innovation is because they pretty much in the console wars. The console wars are over. Xbox just shit itself and pretty much just gave up. And without competition, there is no real innovation. And that's why we have what we have with the fucking PSVR camera and those shitty Move controllers. And if you're playing VR on a PlayStation, you know it. Don't deny it. The controllers are way overpriced for what they do. And you could have Sony could have been heroes. They could have been like, look, we know this shit sucks. Everybody knows it sucks. But here we still have the stupid light thing. But hey, we're going to give you an analog stick. That would have been fucking so good. It would at least gave us some hope to say, hey, Sony's trying. Because it's like, if it wasn't for the games on the fucking PSVR, no one would fucking own it. Yeah, their headset's probably the most comfortable, if I can fucking speak. Granted. Yeah, it's true. And at the time when they came out, they probably had the least amount of screen dooring out of any of the other PC headsets. And if you don't know what that is, go find a screen door, put your fucking face up to it, and look through it. That's what the old mixed reality headset and like the Levano, which I had, which it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that great. The VR was still in that fucking infancy. And the only reason that shit got better is because there was competition. And it was like, well, who has the more clearer picture? And Sony at the time did a really good job. They did a really good goddamn phone. But they they did a good job at that time, but really no innovation since then. I mean, the games coming out got better. Some of them, Blood and Truth, in my opinion, is a glorified experience. And people constantly talk about the graphics. I'm like, yeah, the graphics are great. The people look pretty lifelike and act pretty lifelike. But, like George Lucas says, a special effect without a story is a really boring thing. And it is. Because everything else in that shit is the movement sucks. There's maybe 2 or 3 action scenes that are real fun, but once you've done it, there's no point. I think the future of games should be like a Tea of God or In Death. Sure, I would love to see that Resident Evil 7 graphics on everything. It's probably not going to happen for a while, but every time you play the game, it should be different. Or it should be open world. And yet we still have these hallway shooters and stuff like that. And it's just, I don't know, it just feels so unacceptable. It's like We're lowering the bar so much. And granted, there's so many games on the Quest, like what's the boxing game that could never go on PlayStation. It couldn't, because the move controllers, once you raise your hand up to your face, and it's the same with the aim controller. If you don't set the camera higher than you and aim down, the camera just sees the light from one, and then it stops seeing the light on the helmet. The hands down, you can't argue. The tracking and all that shit sucks. It was a good attempt at the time. You made it cheap. I mean, genius on Sony's part. You took 6-year-old hardware that failed, because it did fail. The whole Move thing, just like the Xbox Kinect, is horrible failures. You took a warehouse full of garbage, you repackaged it for something else, and you still sold it at a premium. So yeah, Sony got everyone to buy their, I wouldn't say outdated, more like second-hand fucking tech. It's worse than being outdated. It's second-hand. And then they didn't improve on it. So it kind of makes me worry about the PSVR 2, Is it going to be wireless? If it's not, I wouldn't recommend it then, because then what's gonna recommend anyone to buy the PSVR 2? What? The games. And exclusive shit, it's a old archaic thing, and it is lazy. It's fucking absolutely lazy, because you're not innovating at that point. It's like, oh, you'll come here because we have this game, and people who don't give a shit, because they're fucking, hand to mouth eating the same shitty practices that these companies give them, and they don't give a shit because they have no standards. And it's the people with no standards who eat shit, will never bitch about the taste, and they just keep feeding this machine. And then they finally snap and say, why are these games the way they are? And why? Well, you're partially the fucking blame. You're absolutely partially the fucking blame. You keep feeding in and buying in. You need to call shit out. And there's not enough people on any of the systems calling people out for these fucking shitty games and the lack of innovation in the hardware. That Sony, if you're fucking listening, that shit better be wireless, because you're fucking dead in the water. You're gonna be fucking dead in the water with VR, because VR is moving forward, and it's mainstream. 4.2 million sold. It's fucking mainstream. It's not a niche. The tech reviewers that are saying this shit's not mainstream, it's still a niche, don't fucking play VR. They don't play really any games. They don't talk about games, they talk about tech. So it's like, what the fuck do you know? If you're not into that, then yeah, it's dead. Shit, I don't play 16-bit games. Can I say it's dead through my eyes? Absolutely. Retro gaming's fucking dead. But you know what? There's people who love retro gaming, and it's not dead, because they're constantly making new shit with that pixel art and all that stuff. It's not dead to them because they're in the know. If you're not in the know, then what the fuck do you know? Nothing. You don't know anything about it. You're just making a blanket statement. Like when people talk about guns. Not to get too political, but like when you say, oh, this AR is semi-fully automatic and has 50 caliber rounds that can shoot down planes, and they're holding like a 22 long rifle in their hand. It's like, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. You have no clue. You've never fucking even, played any of that shit. It's like it's clickbait. Oh, my next rant video is going to be about the fucking video game reviewers. Because now I'm seeing like top 20 games, and then 6 of the games aren't games. They're fucking a big screen TV and shit like that. Clickbait and bitch. That's not sitting and watching a movie on your VR headset. That's not a fucking game. That's not even an experience. It's just shit you could do at home with your friends. Yeah, it's kind of cool to do it with people across the world and stuff. People that you'd probably never be able to meet because of distance and travel and shit. Yeah, but don't call it a fucking game. It's not in the game. It's a social interaction, at best. And half the games in VR aren't even fucking games. They're either experiences or kind of like, I wouldn't even call them experiences. Kind of like just ride along, I guess, experiences. You know, you do something to do more of the same things, and like Prison Boss, it's fun, but like, how many times are you going to go back to that? How many times are you going to roll cigarettes? You fucking roll a real cigarette in real life. Fucking roll a real joint. At least the joint, you'll get something really after it later. You'll think about, wow, why am I doing this in VR when I can just have fun doing it in real life? Shit. Oh, I digress though. Yeah, if the PSVR 2 doesn't have wireless, I'm probably not gonna invest at all in it. Because you're going there for the games at the point. Like 4.2, I'm hoping is going to be amazing. If they do another Resident Evil and you're not using the controller, yeah, the controller does pull you out of the immersion a little bit, but Resident Evil 7 as a standalone game is so fucking good that little shit doesn't really bother you that much. And if you haven't given it a try, you should give it a try. Even if you're not good at, you don't like horror games, because there's a lot of good fucking jump scares. It gets me. I fucking go in drunk or high, and it's fucking great, because Resident Evil is just immersive. And in VR makes it fucking so much better. Like, everything in VR is better. Even like Astro Boy and that Trevor saves the universe shit. I don't like those games, because it's like, I want to be in VR, I want to be in first person, I want to do shit. To me, those are just platform games, but they're so much better. Even those platform games in VR, they're fucking better. VR makes just about everything better. I mean, you got big fucking screen TV. You're going to the movies in VR. It's fucking better. It's fucking better. There's no denying it. Everything in VR is better. You're one of those guys who likes horror games? Do that shit in VR. Do that shit in VR. When you turn around and there's like literally someone behind you, and then you have real good sound, and you can hear them fucking breathing behind you. Yeah, it's fucking. There's nothing else like it. It's not a fucking gimmick. It makes every fucking game better. I would love to see like Minecraft in VR, on like the Quest or something like that. You know, the shit. Everything is just so much fucking better. And the people who say VR is a niche, and it's like, oh no, I'll take my regular games. They never fucking played VR. They never played fucking VR. You just want to be... You're just pissed because technology is moving, and you're not. You're not. You're still giving in to the same shit. Same flat screen. No matter how big your screen is, and no matter how much you put your face up to it, it's not the same as really turning your head. It's not the same playing something like Honor and Duty and walking up to a window and just putting your head out the window with the gun. And even being able to blind fire like in real life. You're not going to rush fucking a gun emplacement head on. No. You're gonna put your head out, you're gonna look a little bit, you say, oh, there's a motherfucker over there, and then you throw an actual hand grenade. And there's some games like fucking Half-Life 1, the hand grenades on that old fucking Half-Life game from like 97, 98. The hand grenades are perfect. What else is fucking really good? Farpoint on the PlayStation. This was like a release game. These are the only motherfuckers that took the time to get a gun to work well with the aim. You know, someone had the fucking common sense to say, when you put the aim controller up and you're trying to aim iron sights, that little ball fucks with the other light that's on the headset, and then the gun starts fucking floating and jumping around. Well, what if we just say, hey, you get the gun up to your chest, but we'll set it so that in VR, the gun is built up and the iron sights are built up just high enough so that when the gun's maybe up to your chin and the light is still obviously working and the camera can see the difference, we'll just change the position a little bit and build up the gun so that that shit works. And those iron sights on Farpoint fucking work. They work just about better than anything else that I've really seen. And these guys, they did the fucking groundwork for everybody. And not a lot of games fucking took that common sense and they didn't go fucking anywhere with it. There's plenty of games where the iron sights on guns are just fucking trash on the PSVR. And it's like, these guys did it. Why can't you? So it's like, you either don't give a shit or you just, you're lazy and you don't give a fuck. And that's mostly on the devs. Because for a long time, everyone was saying, well, you can't have 32 players. You can't have more than 6 players. It's impossible. It's impossible. Fucking Honor of Duty, 32 players. 32 players. Granted, a lot of the people who get on are flat screeners. Flat screeners. Like I'm talking about them like there's something wrong with it. It's okay if you want to play, flat. I don't give a shit. I'm not into the whole VR click shit. To me, I'll tell anybody, give it a fucking chance. Even if you don't like video games, go play Beat Saber. You'll fucking like it. I don't like rhythm games. I don't own fucking Beat Saber on anything, but my friends do. I played it once and I'm like, yeah, I can see why people love it. I don't want to play a rhythm game. But I'll even admit, there's something about it that it fucking just works. And it hooks you. It hooks you really bad. That's why I don't play it. It's like a fucking drug. Just don't try the heroin and you'll never get hooked on it. But yeah, it's so much fun. I'll fucking say it. It's so much fun. As someone who doesn't like those type of games, you can't fucking deny that it is fun. It's better on other platforms because you could do real 360 on some platforms. And, Sony could have been heroes. They could have just upgraded some of the tech, and they just didn't. Now, you can argue that maybe they're putting all their apples and hopes into the PSVR. They're supposedly, air quotes, leaks of the patents, and I've seen a couple of them. I kind of have a theory behind that shit too. It's like they're not really leaks. The patents are there for a reason. I think the people at Sony are just like, what about this idea? What about this idea? They're throwing shit to the wall and seeing what sticks. And I have this like underlying theory where it's like, when you look at all the patents, you kind of say, well, that's real fucking stupid. But there's something in it that's really good. Like, I like the visor on this one. I like how the strap works on this one. I like this one is their wireless headset patent, and they show how the wireless thing sits, and I'm like, that's a good idea. I think if they, like a buffet, you take all the good shit and you leave the shit you don't like and you walk away, and you'll probably make a real good product. If Sony's fucking getting their head out of their ass and doing it right and really investing in VR, because honestly, their investment did a lot. They made VR probably where it is today, because now other companies like Quest came and say, well, we'll make a standalone headset where you don't even need a fucking computer. Well, you won't even need a console, and you won't need no fucking wires. That's innovation, and that's how it should be going. But PlayStation started all that by making a system that works. Well, for the most part, it works. The tracking is iffy. You could say they soft cocked it in a sense. They didn't go in hard and ready. Nah, they rubber dicked it a little bit. in their attempt on their tech. A for effort, but you could have done it a little bit better. Granted, at the time, you know, VR was kind of an unknown thing. You know, there's a lot of companies that came and went and died off quick. Maybe if it wasn't for China and its situation with their government and how companies are run over there, you know, there's, you read on Reddit and you see pictures of headsets that they have that are allegedly 4K and shit. They probably have them. You know, the Chinese, you put pressure on them, they'll fucking make something great and make it cheap. But the way, you know, politics and all that shit that I'm not really going to get into, you know, fucks it for everybody, you know, fucks it for the consumer. And when you have less competition, it kills innovation. And that's probably my biggest fear with Sony. You know, Xbox, you know, they put the gun in their own mouth and shot themselves. They could have probably, you know, Microsoft has the tech. It has, they are Silicon Valley. They could have made some fucking amazing VR shit, but they're like, nah, we're not going to do it. No, fuck you then. You don't give a shit about anything anymore. You made your money and you fucking ran. You know, Sony, you know, if they do PSVR 2 right, they make it wireless, they get some proper fucking tracking, put 8 cameras on that fucking headset. Give us a camera in the back of your head. Give us at least 1, maybe 2 under the headset looking down, 1 looking up. Excuse me. You know, fucking make the most phenomenal tracking system anyone has. Give us that. And give us wireless. And then on top of that, make some amazing AAA games. That will put me back in the good graces of Sony. That will give me hope for the future. And the good thing about that, if they pulled it off, then everybody has to raise their fucking standards. Everybody's gonna PC, Quest, you know. I want to see more standalone headsets. I want to see somebody come out and challenge the Quest, because right now no one has, and no one is. I want to move away from PC completely. I want the standalone fucking system, and I want real fucking games on it. It's gonna be a while. That technology is going to slowly turn around. You know, you might see, you know, I have hopes for Quest 2, but I think like at that time, as long as Quest keeps moving forward, and like maybe a Quest 3 or Quest 4, you'll probably see a real tiny, like, you know, the headset will look like old people sunblocker glasses. And then 5G will be out, so everybody will be able to stream from like maybe a little like hub system. And you'll be able to play like AAA, top of the line, high graphic intensity games with that what's the Half-Life Alyx physics. And then you won't even need controllers because you'll have fucking hand tracking shit. That hand tracking on Quest is fucking cool as hell. Unfortunately, there's no real games right now because developers have to catch up with that shit. I don't think anyone was really ready for that. And then Quest says, look, we can fucking do it. And they did it. And people say it's a gimmick. Yeah, it's a fucking gimmick. It's a gimmick no one else has fucking done. And it's going to be the future because that's where it is. You don't want a controller in your hand. Honestly, you don't want a controller. Well, for moving, you probably will need it. But you know, they already have those platforms where you can like fucking stand on and walk, and you're actually walking somewhere, and that's how you're moving. I don't know if I want that. I mean, granted, it's going to be great for exercise. It's going to be amazing. You don't see a lot of healthy fucking gamers, which you don't see right now. A lot of us are overweight. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. You should be moving around. You should be alive. Yeah, you can't enjoy games when you're fucking hooked up to an oxygen tank and IVs and your machines keeping you alive. That's not living. You want to thrive. You don't want to survive. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's pretty much the rant. There's more and more games that are on the PSVR going to all the other systems. I'm looking forward to Honor and Duty coming to the Quest. They already said that's going to happen. Multiplayer, man, that's going to be the future too. We really need more than 6 versus 6. Granted, you know, on the PSVR you got Firewall, which is an esport now, and you could watch. You know, if you're into that type of game, I'm not into the sticking landmines to the fucking wall. The Rainbow Six style of gameplay doesn't really do it for me. I'm not even a fan of sticking a bomb down and setting it off, and you know, even though everyone on the team is dead, the bomb goes off and you still win. You know, oh, there's a computer there and there's 2 jammers you gotta find. I don't give a shit about that. I just give me the gun. Let me have open battlefield. I don't want this hallway shit is so fucking old and tried and done. It's like we've done it 1,000 times. It was fun when Counter-Strike did it in the 90s. But we should be moving past. We should be having huge open spaces. And it's just not there yet. What else did I want to say? You know, I'm not trying to trash Sony. They did a lot, but they're really lacking in innovation. And they got real stagnant. And it's because there's no one to challenge them anymore. And that's I think the overall problem with everybody. There's not enough competition. And that's gonna hurt everyone in the long run. You don't want a monopoly. You don't want exclusives anymore. Everything should be cross-platform. You know, if your system can run a game better, good for you. That's good. How about you sell your system that way rather than saying, well, we're the only ones with the games, this game, because we pay the developer to fucking be loyal to us. That's not good for the developer. Think how much more money that guy would fucking sell on all the platforms. If you make a good game, give it to everybody. Why are you limiting your funds to one fucking system? You know, this old school archaic fucking thing with exclusives. It's such a fucking old, lazy fucking attempt from the past that there's no reason for it anymore. You know, that way of thinking fucking brought us to where we are now with monopolies. Monopolies don't service anybody but the company that's in fucking charge, and the only company the last company that stands, that only serves the company. That's not helping you. That's not consumerism. That's not free market. This is fucking horrible. And then when you have one company that makes all the games, you have what like Bethesda did with Fallout. You have no quality control because they don't have to. They don't give a fuck. You have to go. They're the only drug dealer on the street. There's nowhere else to get your drugs. Where are you going to go? Nowhere. You have to. That's not living. That's not good. And I think we can all agree that that's a shitty outcome, and it just hurts everybody in the end. I'm not making these videos to piss people off and to say, look, your system sucks. No, we all need to be fucking adults. I've had plenty of, on the last video, one guy, great conversations. We both disagreed on some things. We agreed on some things. But I think we can all agree that technology needs to move forward and these companies need to move forward. And there's no excuse this day and age for bad tracking, having to sit in one fucking position. There's one thing that really pisses me off on PSVR, like with Honor and Duty. And it's not the game. It's the fucking hardware. You know, the aim controller is fucking great. I love it. I wish there was an aim controller type controller on the Quest. I don't need it to feel like a gun. And I don't understand, you know, I'm a gun owner. And I don't fucking understand why people get their 3D printers and they make fake AR tops and AK tops for the aim controller when you can't fucking see any of that shit because you have a VR headset. How is this like making you feel like, what's the point? What the fuck is the point? It's not making the handle itself isn't like pistol grip quality at all. It doesn't feel like a gun, the aim control, and I'm completely fine with that. I don't need my aim controller to be so, I need to be able to rack a slide and all that. I can do that shit in real life. I don't need to do it in the fucking game. You're playing a game, I'm fine with games where you don't have to do actual physical reload. I like Pavlov. I like that you can do a reload, and I'm glad that game is there for those reasons. But, Honor and Duty, you hit a button and the gun reloads and stuff. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I don't have to fucking reload every fucking game, I don't have to rack a slide. I don't need that 100% immersion on every fucking gun or any kind of game. I just want something that I can hold in my hands, and it's like I feel like it's two-handed, pretty much. I want that aim control feeling. Oh, where else was I going with this? Shit, I'm all over the place today. I was supposed to go for a jog, but my fucking foot's killing me. Oh, and the humidity here in Florida is so fucking ridiculous today. Oh, and it's so hot. It's supposed to be cold. It's fucking 76 with 80% humidity. You go take 10 steps and it's like, swamp ass. Everywhere. It's everywhere. You can't fucking escape it. People in Florida know what I'm talking about. It's a heat like no other heat. The fucking humid. And mosquitoes are fucking out today. And they're huge. You ever seen a mosquito the size of your fucking hand? Seriously, have you ever? I have. They're fucking dinosaur sized. Horrible. Then you get that little fucking disease that makes your baby small. Ugh, it's crazy. Stick to the points though. Oh, the aim controller. Yeah, I just want some kind of controller like that on everything. Some kind of like light gun. To me that shit's great. And it has the aim controller on the PlayStation has an analog stick. Why couldn't you just fucking common sense? Everyone loves it. Oh, this is what the point I was getting back to with the Honor and Duty. So, like, with the analog stick on the aim controller, that's what you use, and Firepoint, too. That's what you use to move around, and it's fucking brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. But what pisses me off is, like, let's say you're walking up to a house, and I kind of I lean to the right to look around the corner as I'm moving forward. The fucking PlayStation does not like that shit. If you're moving a little bit and you're moving forward in the game, you just stop. For whatever fucking reason, I don't know if the PlayStation can't figure out that you're moving and you're moving in the game, but you're also moving in real life, and it can't fucking compute. It shits itself, and you just stop. You just stop. And I don't know how much of that is with the developers or with the hardware. It's probably mostly a hardware issue. The PlayStation is ridiculously underpowered for what it's doing. And granted that they've done some amazing games, if you haven't played Farpoint, I really recommend it. It's not as long as people say it is because it's a lot of cutscenes. But the story is solid, and it gives you that hope. Like this is like a AAA attempt on what a sci-fi aim controller game could have been. I'm really hoping for part 2, and we need to stop with the exclusive shit. We just need to release everything everywhere. Yeah, if you like your Nintendo, then play on your fucking Nintendo. If you like your PlayStation, play. I don't give a shit about that. But when you fanboy so hard that you're willing to deny flaws and shortcomings, that's when we have a problem. That's when you're fucking delusional and shit. And there's no point in having a conversation because you're it's like talking to a person with schizophrenia. He's telling you, hey, there's a ghost man standing next to you, and he's not there. And it's like, why are you even fucking wasting your time? You're just wasting your breath. The sky is green. No, it's not. Shut up. Well, I think, this is almost fucking 30 minutes. Well, this is way too fucking long for a rant. But that's all I pretty much wanted to say. and let everyone know that's the truth of what's going on with the PSVR. You know, I still think it's got some good games, and that's what's keeping it alive. The games and the aim controller. Everything else I can live without. But there's some really good games. If you can, give Resident Evil 7, Honor and Duty, Farpoint. There's some other good games. I think Blood and Truth is way overrated. But as for an experience, it does it very well. Rush of Blood's pretty fun. And that's like that's a game that like anyone can try out. As far as motion sickness, if it's your first time playing VR on anything, you're probably going to get some motion sickness. It's you know, you gotta get your VR legs under you, and that will come with time. And everybody, unless the game is really bad and choppy, which some games, you know, are definitely prone to that shit. But let's give it a chance, and I'm hoping for the best. You know, in 40K, there's that statement: "Hope is the first step on the road to disappointment." And the ball's in their court. They can do right, and they can make an amazing product, or they can shit the bed. And you know, I'll be here. I'll be here when it comes out. And if they shit the bed, I'm gonna call you out on it. That's the best anyone can do. And you can learn from mistakes, and you say, you know what, not again. You had a good go, and then you fucked it. And I'm just hoping they don't fuck it. And wherever you are, you know, have a good day, good night, good morning, whatever. Take care. And we're all here for VR. We all love it. We know it's the future, and there's no denying it. And, you know, have a good day. Goodbye.